every month. And if you're tired like I am of you and your family being exposed to polluted drinking water, get the Pro One high-performance water filter. It gets rid of all pathogenic bacteria, cyst, fluoride, heavy metals, and numerous other contaminants. So join the revolution at InfoWarsShop.com.
We will be victorious! Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are live. I am your host, Alex Jones. Anyways, Vivian Kubrick. I know enough about Stanley Kubrick and watched all the films over and over again, have all the box sets, grew up with my mother and dad, taking me to see all the movies when they would come back into theaters, like 2001 Space Odyssey, Dr. Strangelove, you name it. My mother grew up walking, a mile with her friends to go to the Paramount Theater here in Austin, Texas, and watch the Kubrick films when they actually came out. She was a teenager whenever Dr. Strangelove came out, famously exposing the RAND corporations and plans to cause a nuclear war so they could set up a military dictatorship. Now they just use Al-Qaeda to take away our liberties, so we're very blessed. But it was, I'm not starstruck anymore. I've been invited to travel the world and go all these amazing places with really famous people, but it's all off record. And I'm glad that other interesting people want to know me. I'm kind of flabbergasted by it sometimes. Kurt Vonnegut was a listener, and I talked to him, and he sent me art, but he didn't want to come on the show. He said, I've sworn to not give any more speeches, and I'm done now. And then he died like 6 months later. That's one of the few really famous people I can talk about because it's on record. He sent me art and things. But so many other really, really famous, interesting people who are incredibly smart in person. Like you'll be around them talking to them, and you can't believe they're actually talking to you, and everything they say is just so thought-provoking. And I'm just honored to get to know all these people. But Vivian Kubrick, of course, was his protege. He said the smartest of his kids. She worked on a bunch of his films. And they would give her nom de plumes so that people wouldn't say nepotism. And they'd say, who's that person you've got editing? Who's that person doing the score? Who's that person on camera? Steven Spielberg would try to hire the nom de plumes that she had. And she told me so much about her dad in the 2 days that we hung out and had dinner 2 or 3 hours a night with the crew. And most of it, she didn't say, is off the record, but some of it was. So I'm just not going to tell any of it. Someday, if she wants to come on the show and talk about all that. Because I'm a Kubrick fan, watched the documentaries, read a book about it. I'm not like a, stalker fan to the point of I know everything, but I know a lot about Stanley Kubrick. And those are films I can watch over and over again. 2001 Space Odyssey, Full Metal Jacket. It's Vivian Vanessa Kubrick, born 1960. They've got her Wikipedia up there. But the issue is that talking to her, it was just really enlightening, and I felt uplifted, and she just had a really great spirit about her. And the first night, we went down to protest the Federal Reserve Wednesday night. About 200 people, 250 showed up, great people, impromptu, to protest the real power structure that killed Kennedy when he signed the executive order to begin abolishing the Federal Reserve. And I was petting this beautiful American bulldog, the prettiest I'd ever seen, that this fella actually was holding in his arms, this really big guy. And then I turned, and this very interesting-looking woman, like a very alive eye, said, look at my dog. And I was like, oh, sweet, very nice black poodle that she had in her arms, a medium-sized poodle. And I said, well, fantastic, great job. And then I left. And then the next night, we just had our march down to Dealey Plaza to protest the fact that they were going to restrict free speech in most of the city the next day. And Leanne, Richard pulls up after I've been marching for hours in the Suburban to pick me up, take me back to the hotel. And Leanne gets in and goes, hey, that lady says she's Vivian Kubrick and, would like to tell you a funny story about her dad and the CIA. But she never told me it was on or off record, so I'm not going to tell that story until she comes on in person sometime. So I said, well, get her number. And I drove by and I said, that actually looks like Vivian Kubrick. I'd seen his daughters before, and she's in a bunch of his films. So I called the number. Sure enough, I looked it up online. That's her. She came to the hotel. We talked for about 3 hours, absolutely hit it off. And then the next day she marched with us. It got attacked by police. She was in all that. We're now digging through all the footage and getting the really hardcore stuff. We just put out the first video we saw, which shows them shoving me and pushing people to the ground and stuff. But the hardcore stuff, we're now digging it up to put a video out tonight on the Nightly News.
As we saw in Katrina, and as we are watching now in New York and New Jersey, the federal government can't and won't help you in a crisis. FEMA ran out of water and MREs in days. Electricity is still off to over 1 million people. The Red Cross, who is quick to beg for money, is now slow to react. Don't put it off any longer. Get prepared today. While you're on InfoWarsShop.com, check out these other great preparedness items. The Aquapod kit lets you store up to 65 gallons of water in your bathtub. Pocket Socket provides you with manual electricity for small electronics like your cell phone. The Life Straw is great for your bug-out bag. And check out our complete line of Interfood products for great tasting and nutritionally dense foods that have a great shelf life. If you are looking to secure your home in a crisis, you can order Strategic Relocations, the film, a great companion to the book Strategic Relocations 3rd edition, and The Secure Home by Joel Skousen. When the time to perform arrives, the time to prepare has already passed. Get prepared now, so if a crisis strikes your home, you and your family will be secure. Go to InfoWarsShop.com.
We're working on getting Max Kaiser on because he's the one that's been saying for a long time that when they start trying to charge for deposits in the U.S., you know that means inflation's about to really spike up. Well, now that's in the Financial Times of London. U.S. banks warn Fed interest cut could force them to charge depositors. That's a big deal. The biggest issue is Iran nuclear deal. Now Saudi Arabia warns they will strike on its own, even if Israel, the U.S., or NATO don't. Over the peace deal Iran has struck. And it makes them get rid of their enrichment down to 5%, which it's really even hard to have reactors for power at that level. So it looks like sanctions actually did bring Iran pretty much to their knees. They failed in taking out Syria so they could then take out Iran. Because Syria is on Israel's flank, it had to be taken out first. That's why they used Saudi Arabia backed al-Qaeda. But now Saudi Arabia is literally throwing a fit. And out of all the players in the Middle East, there's some real nasties out there. Saudi Arabia is hands down, and al-Qaeda is hands down, heads above the rest. In fact, way, way worse. Leagues worse than the other players, and just mischievous and wanting to dominate everything. And I see why. I mean, from 1903 to 1933, one group of Bedouin tribes took over what is Saudi Arabia, Syria, and so many other areas with British intelligence backing. I mean, these guys had 200 square miles in between two mountain ranges of the worst desert in Saudi Arabia today. And under British intelligence backing, took the whole thing over. And now they want the entire world, basically. Not just North Africa, not just Central Asia. They're exporting their people all over the Caucasus to threaten the Russians. They publicly threatened to blow up the Olympics using al-Qaeda. The head of Saudi intelligence, bin Sultan Bandar, related to the bin Ladens. I just can't handle it anymore. And then I've got to have the TSA look me in the eyes and act like I've done something wrong and want to grab my genitals and put me in a scanner when the government runs al-Qaeda. The illegitimate government runs it. And I'm tired of all the cops in riot gear and all the cameras and all the armored vehicles and the billions of bullets saying it's for al-Qaeda when you know full well it's for the American people. And now they admit it's for us. And I've had enough, and I'm angry. And I have to go out and basically get roughed up by police to have peaceful demonstration in Dallas for the First Amendment, which the mayor said was banned. And the Dallas police did their job, and so they just sent in the sheriff's department under federal control to attack us. And the message is, we own these streets, you don't. It's pure gangster level. We even overheard the Dallas police the first night. But we missed them then, and I guess higher-ups countermanded it, saying, we got to show him and show them these are our streets, and they can't be out here, and then we're the boss. I mean, man, the level of blockheadedness. We got to show them they just can't stand on the street corner and hand out flyers in America. We got to... Well, you know what? You're going to get shown by the establishment that you don't have anything as well. You fools. You want freedom. You want free speech. You want checks and balances. That's what made America so successful. Everybody else is authoritarian. Everybody else doesn't let people demonstrate. And they're hellholes. Western civilization, cradle of freedom, and it's all being reversed. It's all being lost. And did you notice all the prosperity's going out the window at the same time? And I want my children to grow up in a free country. Listen, if there was some great free country with lower taxes, I would leave. Except that I have, and there are a few actually that are better out there. I've looked into it. But I have such roots here that I'm not going to abandon ship. And I see a lot of positive things happening, too. Don't get me wrong. I see military waking up, a lot of police waking up. I see moves to start impeaching the Attorney General, moves to impeach Obama. I'm seeing a lot of awakening. That's good, but it's not enough, folks. I mean, they're teaching kids 2 + 2 = 5, and that mom and dad is a bad word, father and mother, and that peanut butter and jelly sandwiches are racist. To traumatize 7-year-olds that they're racist because mommy gave them peanut butter and jelly sandwich so they can henpeck little kids and teach them they're bad because they're white. And the new Common Core curriculum says all whites are racist, basically. I covered that yesterday. I mean, this is the type of stuff we're dealing with in this country. Total balkanization, total psych warfare, totally criminal. The government is illegitimate at the top. It's trying to get the lower level people to carry out crimes. It doesn't matter, though. The government is now illegitimate from pillar to post. It didn't matter if the Dallas police followed the judge's injunction that we could demonstrate. It didn't matter if that after the ceremony, Dealey Plaza had to be opened up, and we went in first. They were opening all the barricades. We go in. The feds across the street in front of witnesses said, we're not going to let Alex Jones do that. Get over there. They masked up, went over and pushed us out of there to show us we're the boss, Homeland Security. We run this show. We'll do what we want in America. They federalized units in every police department, every sheriff's department in major cities. Now they're federalizing everything else. And they sent thugs that had criminal glints in their eyes over there. And I just want to thank God for giving me the self-control to sit there and put up with it. We're going through all the footage to get the really hardcore stuff. Rob Dewitt walked down the street and ran back. That's how we got this from behind. None of us got the first of it except on our live feeds. We have to go into the live feed archives to get the really brutal stuff, where they had that guy's head pinned up against the wall right there, ramming it, choking people, knocked a girl off a guy's shoulders. This is the stuff I saw. We're going to get it all and have it by tonight's show. We all got back tired this weekend, and we just have dozens of hours of footage to go through, but we're going to do it. Now, let's just stop right there. I want to shift gears.
Now you can watch the InfoWars Nightly News streaming live as it happens for free.
Check it out at Infowars.com/show.